Support Wrestle Talk!
Give us a subscribe. Hello and welcome to Wrestle Ramble. This is Luke Owen, I'm Ollie Davis, and today we're going to be reviewing this week's episodes of SmackDown and Raw, including Kurt Angle's big revelation of his texting mystery, the SummerSlam main event seemingly being worked out and set up, and a pretty lackluster episode of SmackDown for the Go Home Battleground show.
I forgot it was a Battleground Go Home.
Exactly right. If you want to go straight to any of those discussions, click the timestamps in the video description below, or stay right here where we're going to go into Raw in like 30 seconds. But first, we're a podcast now. You can hear this in audio form only. I guess you can kind of do that already on YouTube by just closing your eyes and listening, or maybe going on another web page while this is playing in the background. All respectable ways of doing it. But if you want to listen to it by downloading it to your phone, smartphone device, put it on in the car, maybe when you're making love and you have to be on airplane mode. Don't know why that would be a situation, but whatever you need to do it for.
Could be on an airplane.
You could be on an airplane.
When you have to be on airplane mode.
You could be joining the Mile High Club.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to listen to us talk to you, and you don't have internet reception.
I could see this being a scenario. Say you were going on a long haul flight, and your lady partner or man partner had said to you,
or cis partner. There's some more.
Yeah, there are multiple. Your partner of any sex, gender, race or creed would have turned to you and said, "Ooh, bit randy, let's go join the Mile High Club," and you're like, "Oh, that's a great idea, but I've got a backlog of Wrestle Rambles to get through, so can we do both?"
Yeah. Well, that's plausible.
It is very plausible.
It's certainly more plausible than some stuff we're going to talk about that happened on Raw.
My friend is getting married very soon, and he is going to America for his honeymoon to go see SummerSlam, actually, and take over Brooklyn 3.
Well,
and he has told me...
He's taking his lady partner.
Yes.
She's a big wrestling fan as well.
No. And
that makes it better.
And he's got very, very good seats as well. I'd imagine we will probably see him on the camera, and I will point him out and go like, "That's my friend." And he has told me that he is going to be downloading a lot of Wrestle Rambles in advance. That's what put the idea into my head, because he literally could be in the position that I just described.
And he's horny.
Yes, or she is.
Yeah. But yeah, you can't miss out on the Wrestle Ramble.
Women get horny. It does happen.
So, yeah. That was a very long way to say subscribe on iTunes.
Yeah, more than 30 seconds as well.
Yeah, there are other...
That's what women like.
There are other providers. She threw me with the going the distance in lovemaking joke there.
It's a pretty good one.
So there are other... You can hopefully find this on other ones, because the way podcasts work is that they mostly just grab stuff from iTunes. Mm-hmm. If you're on Android, for instance, you can just download a normal podcast catcher. What do I use? I use Pocket Casts.
See, I use Podcast Addict.
Yes, and it all pulls from there. But stuff like the Google Play Store and Spotify, we're working on getting ourselves on. So
they're not quite as easy to get around, unfortunately.
Yeah. So there you go. There's a load that was way too long. So let's talk about Raw.
Yeah.
Let's jump straight in with the opening segment. That was Dean Ambrose running out with a steel chair, being like, "Oh, Miz and your friends, I'm so angry with you. You're going to have to fill in a few bits for me."
Oh, why is that?
Well, I didn't see the previous week because I was on a holiday.
Oh,
I haven't had a chance to catch up.
Yeah.
To be honest, I quite enjoyed not watching Raw.
Well, here's the thing. You missed quite a great episode of Raw last week. And
wait, should we talk about that?
Yeah. So, correct me if I'm wrong, that's not the first In Awe episode of Raw. You've definitely done a review in the past which was In Awe.
I did one In Awe in the year and 6 months that I've been doing them.
Yeah.
Your first time reviewing.
First week, mate. I was so excited about a great episode of Raw. I was like, I'm in awe of this episode. I was not bored the entire time watching last week's episode. There was nothing that I felt was worth skipping. Every segment meant something. Every segment furthered something. It was just a wonderful episode of Raw.
Okay, so this sort of, we have this debate all the time, like, what is a 5-star thing? What you've just described to me, I enjoyed every segment. That was really good. I wasn't bored.
No, okay. So, not only was I not bored by anything, and not every segment was very good, but there were just great moments, like the Brock Joe Roman Reigns segment. It's the best Reigns has looked in so long, and there was some. Have you watched that segment, right?
I watched a little bit and read a recap.
Because there was a great moment when Kurt Angle was kind of sort of admonishing him for the Braun Strowman attack, and he was like, "You should be thanking me." Because you've not done anything about it. And then points to Brock and said, and you're never here to do anything about it.
Ooh.
And the crowd went, oh.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, that's the sort of Roman that we want.
Well, that I mean, those are good points. But for something to get to an in-awe level, you have to have, for me, 3 incredible angles. Mm-hmm. And it has to be a flawless show elsewhere.
And I thought
like, you can't drag in any point.
I thought it was a flawless show elsewhere.
You really enjoyed all the cruiserweight stuff.
Yeah, I did actually. I thought the cruiserweight tag matches were very enjoyable, and there was a really good main event. And I thought the main event of Rollins and Bray Wyatt was better than their pay-per-view match, which was at best mediocre. The Finn Drifter match was really, really great as well. There was a really great tag match in there between the Hardys and Gal Anderson. It had absolutely everything.
I'm glad for you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you got such a good episode of Raw.
I did.
On the 1 week you'll never do it again. Anyway, yeah, so Ambrose is saying, come out, Ms. Taraj, I want to hit you with the chair. And Seth comes out and says, hit me with the chair.
This was a really great segment.
It was, wasn't it? It was really good.
Really good.
It's nice to hear Seth apologise for the heel turn from, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Because one of the big problems when he came back from injury and he was that horrid in-betweener face heel, still sucking up to the McMahons last August, but trying to present himself as a babyface, completely ruined his comeback. This is what he should have done then.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
So it's way too late. The only thing I didn't like about it was that Rollins should have sort of offered that up and been apologetic himself, but he almost said it to Dean like, oh, get over it. It was 3 years ago.
Come on, man.
This is the first time I'm apologising. Quit going on about it. So I was like...
What I would say about this segment is that I have run very cold on Dean Ambrose as of late because I've just found him particularly uninteresting. I haven't been interested in him as a character probably since before WrestleMania last year when he was in that feud with Brock Lesnar, which I just wasn't into either, and neither was Brock. And I've just been really cold on him. But this segment, his performance and Seth's performance, I was like, oh, I'm actually invested in this dynamic, in this relationship. At long last, I'm invested in something Dean Ambrose is doing.
Yeah, because they sort of, they had an actual emotion storyline thing to run off of that wasn't just Dean Ambrose acting wacky, which it really is no good anymore, for me at least. And they had the great dynamic of Ambrose saying, I just want to hit them all with a chair. I'm a reckless lunatic fringe.
Steely Dan.
Whereas Rollins was like, hey, I'm the guy with the plan. You need a plan. I'm an architect.
Yes.
So I like that dynamic of it.
And sets up a match for next week as well.
Yes. So they will get a handicap match against the Miz Taraj. So that's Miz, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel against Rollins and Ambrose. There's someone missing there, though, isn't there?
Yeah, but so I don't want Roman Reigns getting involved in this because that will proper drag down Roman Reigns. That is something that he does not need, is to be dragged down into this mid-card feud.
Yeah. But you're happy with Seth to do it?
I wasn't overly happy with Seth doing it either, but as I said in last week's Raw review, him being there at least freshened up the feud.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I mean, this feud's been going on since December, and this is something that's at least a little bit different about it.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when Rock and John Cena teamed up, and this was Rock's first match in WWE in over how many years, and it was against The Miz and R-Truth.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, this is about them getting back together. It's not about an actual force. Where really, the proper way you should have done that is an unstoppable force that these two have to team up to take them out.
A bit like my Kurt Angle fantasy booking warfare that won me that one time.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
So you need a larger faction, a more threatening thing to WWE for the actual Shield reunion to happen.
Yes.
Do you really want a Shield reunion to happen against the Miz Taraj?
Yeah.
Miz is great, but the other two, and
Yeah.
it's a faction that's been going for a couple of weeks. But
And
everyone was chanting
they're
for Roman.
hardly. Yeah, actually, yeah, the crowd finally chanted for Roman, so that's always good.
Yeah.
Crowd were hot tonight as well, really into everything.
They were,
Well,
but
apart from the cruiserweight stuff, for obvious reasons.
they kind of cheered everything though, because at one point Dean Ambrose was like, "I'm gonna hit him with the like, we should make up, hug it out." So they're on the side, and then he's like, "I'm gonna hit you with the chair." Yeah, hit him with the chair, and then he throws the chair out the ring. No, boo! We wanted to see the. I was like, but you just
You
wanted
said the
them
hug
to hug it out.
Yeah.
So like, if the audience were really, really invested, they
They'd-
would have cheered the chair being thrown
They'd
out.
have been going, no,
Yeah.
no, rather than
no,
yes,
don't hit
yes.
him. So it's kind of like, is that a genuine crowd reaction, or are the crowd just having fun? Because
The opening segment of Raw, they're always going to be. Usually crowds
Yeah.
are very hot during the opening segment.
next up we had Bayley beating Alexa Bliss.
My girl Bailey, she's on.
coming back.
She's on the ascend.
Oh yeah,
it's great news.
Unstoppable. This is 2 weeks.
2 weeks in a row she's won. Can I tell you a story from my watching experience of this match? I was talking to my lady partner about this last night. You and I recently just booked a Bailey heel turn as our fantasy booking warfare, speaking of things that I lose. And I was saying to her last night, I was like, Bailey is this, she's this hero to children, but she's been getting booed on the main roster and no one's really getting behind her, so perhaps a heel turn could freshen up her character. And my lady partner was like, well, from everything you've told me, I think that sounds like a terrible idea because she's a hero to children. And I was like, yeah, but, X, Y, and Z, and I kind of went through the whole thing. And then I brought up yesterday, or Monday's Raw, and I said, and there was a moment when she was doing her entrance.
Oh, yeah.
And she came around to ringside, and then she went to go in the ring, and she stopped, turned back, and walked towards this young boy in a Bailey t-shirt, crying.
Dweeb.
Just so, like, tears streaming down his face because he was so happy to see Bailey. And she hugged him, and I was like, this is, like, he's going to remember that forever. And then she kept pointing to him throughout the match. When she won, she pointed at him as well. And I was like, never turn this woman heel. Never, never, never turn this woman heel. She is John Cena for life. Do never, never, never turn her heel.
Plant.
No,
plant.
never, never, mate. Okay, so
It was a very lovely moment.
I cried.
I agree. No.
Genuinely, I welled up because
Really?
my heart melted. Oh, she's just the best. She's the best.
That's good for you. I think you've got a low emotional bar. It takes a lot more for me to cry. Like adverts, really good adverts.
I was going to say, it's not that much more.
So, yeah, this had Nia Jax and Sasha Banks at ringside.
Yeah, where was Sasha for so long?
Yeah, she only came out at the end, didn't she,
Yeah.
when Nia Jax
sort
seemed
it
to be
out,
interfering.
friend.
And they worked it out, so Bayley kind of got a distraction roll-up finish because there was stuff going on the outside. So it's not like it was a clean win, but it's very lugging booking.
But at least she won through her finish rather than a roll-up.
Yeah. And Banks versus Bayley has been made for the next week, and that will decide who faces Bliss at SummerSlam for the title, which is different to what's been reported. And it was going to be a 4-way, but it seems now the main event is going to be a 4-way.
It still could be.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll see. It will be really weird and very, very lazy if next week they have Sasha Banks versus Bayley, Nia Jax comes out, lays everyone out. Now we've got to make it a 4-way. Because that seems to be the exact same direction they're going within the men's
literally
main
just
event.
did that in the main event last week.
Yeah. But just one quick thing about Nia. Someone sent this to me on Twitter, and it is something Rowe, Mike Rowe, one of the backstage robot interviewers, although he is quite good. It's an Instagram video of Nia Jax coming over and saying, Mike, it's time. Give me a 2 sweet. And Mike goes, thank you. He goes up to do it, and then Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson appear from nowhere, and Carl Anderson goes, and Luke Gallows goes, and Jax is corpsing at how long Gallows goes on for, just goes, and they walk off. I'm like, why isn't that?
I was about to say,
the main show.
Why? Oh, well, we can't have people showing character. That's why Talking Smack was cancelled.
Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson are obviously so funny. And that you hear all these reports backstage of how high the locker room morale is when Luke Gallows is around, because he's just a fun guy to be around.
Speaking of Talking Smack, have you heard that they've announced the post-Battlegrounds edition of Talking Smack with Renee Young and Jerry Lawler?
That's what people want to see.
That's what everyone was tuning into Talking Smack for, was to see Jerry Lawler.
You don't want the general manager at the pay-per-view.
No, you don't want the person who actually made like her and dynamic between Renee and Daniel Bryan. You don't want to see that.
They're trying to bury the show.
No.
So after a few months, everyone, I don't care if Talking Smack's cancelled now.
Yeah.
My point was Gallows and Anderson should be allowed to be their full comedy heel shtick on the main roster.
I think everyone should really be allowed to express themselves a bit more than just rather than. We'll come on to SmackDown later, but do you see the way that Naomi was watching TV this week? Good Lord, it was just like it was.
How are you seeing that? I think
I proper laughed out loud.
Well, to be a WWE athlete, you need really good peripheral vision.
Yeah.
Because people are going to attack you from any way. The amount of people who run from behind you and attack you when you're watching a Titantron.
I know. Well, she was practically behind the TV while looking at it.
Well, that's how good that is. Almost 360.
I would also say as well that you can tell how good the women on SmackDown's peripheral vision is, because when they are talking to Shane McMahon, they stand in a line.
That is convenient.
It is very convenient, isn't it?
It's horrible. So horribly staged.
It's so rubbish.
But segue. What isn't as horribly staged now is that there were no purple tape. There wasn't any purple tape on the ring ropes for the cruiserweight match on Raw this week.
Cost-cutting measures, mate.
First pyro. Now you're gonna cut the tape. So it was Mustafa Ali and Jack Gallagher beating Brian Kendrick and Drew Gulak in a 3-minute match, I think.
In a no purple rope match.
Yeah, Gallagher and Kendrick seem to be having a 205 Live feud going on.
As is Drew and Mustafa, but we haven't seen their match. They had a match on 205 Live last night we've not seen yet. So
Gulak and Ali are feuding?
Yes.
And Gulak's whole gimmick is no-fly zone.
Yes.
Is that playing into the...
Yeah. So because
Of course
he on SmackDown tonight, when they do like the 205 promo, I didn't realize that his gimmick is that he's a politician.
Yeah, he's like doing public.
Yeah, he's doing he's essentially like being like almost a Donald Trump like thing where he's saying that high flying stuff's rubbish, and then he'll occasionally go to the top rope and do high flying moves because he's a hypocrite.
Yeah,
amazing how they didn't get this over on commentary.
Yeah.
And it just makes it just... he just comes out with a sign otherwise and just looks a bit weird. Especially because all of his graphics have got him with a beard. And then he comes out completely clean-shaven.
Yeah, that was strange. I was like, why is JBL regressed 20 years in age? So
ain't no cruiserweight, Mariel.
So he's going after Mustafa Ali, who is of a certain ethnicity, about the no-fly zone thing. So that might be an example of a foreign babyface overcoming a domestic heel.
Oh, well,
this is forward progressive storytelling.
This really is, because I'm pretty sure they do another like anti-American promo later on this with one of their heels. Is that right? Have I made that up?
I can't remember.
I just feel like every heel does it now.
So next up we had Big Cass versus Big Show in what I don't know if it was a match.
No, it was more of a like Enzo came out and he cut his shtick, and then Cass came out to be like, hey, I'm gonna like knock you out or something, and then Enzo ran out and said like, actually I've got some backup, and then Big Show came in and then they had a brawl. I'm guessing because they're in a match at SummerSlam with Enzo in Big Show's corner.
So Enzo, I really like Enzo. I really think he should be a manager who's allowed to wrestle occasionally. Just to get his comeuppance. He could be a great heel manager. But he comes out and he cuts this really good babyface promo, although doesn't really mean anything because he's done the same thing for the last several weeks and he just got his ass kicked at Great Balls of Fire. Why does he then run away from Cass, hide in the audience, a heel move?
Because he's got Big Show to back him up. The dynamic completely doesn't work.
The psychology is really bad there.
I think the psychology in Enzo has been dreadful anyway, because, King Ross has pointed this out for weeks on end now, as has Gorilla Position. We've never mentioned it on this show, but it irks me that Enzo still does his usual shtick when he comes out. Like at the pay-per-view, he's in like the match of his life. His best friend has stabbed him in the back, and he comes out dancing away, doing his usual, I'm Enzo Amore, I'm a certified G, and you can't teach that. And you're like, no, mate, you should be you should be upset by this whole thing, not acting like you usually do.
Yeah. Well, it seemed, like you said, it seems to be going on to SummerSlam. I mean, after their Great Balls of Fire match, I thought that was it. That's this feud over. Cass is off to big show of things.
I also like as well that Enzo's entire promo was about how Cass's problem with Enzo was that he would often write checks that his ass can't cash, and then Enzo was saying like, well, Cass, now you've written a check your ass can't cash because you can't beat the Big Show. And then Cass beat up the Big Show and Enzo, proving that he can write checks that his ass can cash. I am not Enzo. I am not Enzo Amore. I am not a smack talker Skywalker.
Check was in a lot in there, and Cash. You did well.
Thanks.
There was only one noticeable botch.
Yeah, no, yeah.
It's better than Michael Cole trying to commentate a Punjabi prison match. Next up, we had Finn Balor beating Elias Samson. But the actual result is, because it was a DQ, Elias Samson delivered a heinous guitar shot to what should have been Finn Balor's shoulder. And it did hit him in the shoulder, but guitar bases are quite large. And the rest of it hit Finn Balor, it seems, about here, because they posted a photo on his Instagram afterwards of these two... Well, I don't know if it was two gashes. It just looked like one singular round gash.
Yeah.
So, ouch.
Maybe Elias needs to be watching some Jeff Jarrett tapes in order to learn how to
Give
throw...
me the goddamn guitar.
And there was no powder in the guitar either, so it wasn't a proper guitar.
So this was in Nashville. Was this their way? We can't get Dixie Carter on the show, but this one's for you, Jeff.
Can't get Double J on either. Yeah.
I thought this was a really good match, though.
Well, I thought they had a
enjoying
really great match last week as well.
Yeah.
I'm a bit disappointed they're having another match next week.
Yeah. Oh, what just happened?
Mandrews fell.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
That seemed, for people who can't see the background, that seemed like a ghost just haunted you. Breath on the back of it. Maybe it's Bray Wyatt. He's going to do a promo. I think Finn Balor, surprise, surprise, he's a great wrestler. Yeah. But something that's happened in the last month where I just love watching him wrestle. Like Cesaro, I could just watch him wrestle. Don't care what match he's in. I would prefer it to be better matches. But if he's got good 10, 15 minutes to tell a story in a match, I love it.
Yeah.
I love his running drop kick on the barrier on the outside.
He's just great.
Speaking of Bray, though, he appeared at the end of this match to be like, now I'm going to say the same things about you, Finn.
Yeah, to cut his spooky Bray Wyatt promos, which are just, I mean, the words just wash over me now. Like, I don't really get the meat of his promos.
I think it would be good. Like, you would care if he had a better win record and you haven't been conditioned to think, oh, Bray's talking, it's not going to result in anything.
No.
And he hasn't got the cool part about Bray Wyatt was the family as well. That's such a huge part of his character, and now he's just on his lonesome. It's very similar to Enzo in that you've got a fantastic talker, but it doesn't mean anything anymore because we've been conditioned to ignore the content, which is a real shame.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like Balor and Bray for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Next up, we had Araya Daivari beating Akira Tozawa.
That was a surprise. But, I mean, it built up... I like that it built into the...
You liked this?
Well, no. I mean, I like that it furthered the Titus brand dynamic. At least it gave it something a little bit more. Probably a bit too soon to be doing this kind of dynamic.
Well, this is it. I really like Titus worldwide.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's...
Worldwide?
Yeah, they shouldn't get a main, like, Universal Championship run or anything. But this is a solid lower mid card act.
Do you know what
This is like right to censor.
Do you know what Raw is low on at the moment? Tag teams.
Yeah.
Why don't you just do Apollo Crews and Tozawa as a tag team unit?
Oh, they're cruiserweights. Oh no, Apollo isn't.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking that. Oh, that would be really good to bring Tozawa out of that, and that could you could transit. Because what better way to like reintroduce people than making them part of a tag team, and then you tell that story. But it's just worldwide is finally getting over since they made Titus into a babyface. The crowd seems to be connecting with him more. He's kind of got an affable rubbish, but now he's seeming to care about his talent, which makes a big difference. So what do? They tease dissension with Titus O'Neil throwing in the towel because of this gruesome beat-up from Araya Daivari 3 minutes in. It didn't, it just rang so hollow.
Yeah, it was pretty, yeah.
So I wasn't it's like I'm a fan of the concept, but the execution was just rubbish. Why couldn't you just give him 10 minutes? Why
No.
couldn't you tell this story properly? You've got 3 hours, and you didn't have to change the ring, the purple tape. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, the
Here
big
it is.
announcement. The big announcement.
Weirdly, as not the night's main event.
No, and I think that once you kind of like found out what that announcement was, you were like, okay, well that's why it wasn't the main event
Yeah.
then, because this is I don't know, is this a main event storyline now?
I don't think initially, and unless it turns out to. Oh, no, let's talk about what it was first, just in case you haven't heard.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle came out at the top of the second hour for this. Been teased not only throughout the night, but for months. This has been building.
Months.
What is the mystery text that Kurt Angle has been getting that could ruin his career, his reputation as an Olympic gold medalist, and his family? He's got an illegitimate son. The illegitimate son is Jason Jordan.
Of American Alpha fame.
Yeah, that's convenient. Of course, he was a SmackDown star, so Kurt... Oh, we've got a down. Kurt introduced him as...
What fell?
I think the scarf, the
Oh,
Japan
yeah.
scarf, as a Raw wrestler.
Yes.
So now Jason Jordan is on Raw.
And so a friend of mine was texting me yesterday saying, like, I've not watched Raw. Does this mean American Alpha have split up? And I was like, well, I guess so, because Michael Cole announced him as a former member of American Alpha.
Yeah.
And then on SmackDown tonight, they were saying that, like, oh, Jason Jordan is now going alone as a single star. And he kept saying to me, he was like, yeah, but they've left it open for them to come back together, right? And I was like, well, not really. He was like, oh, yeah, but down the line they could put them back together because they haven't had an official breakup. And my reaction was to get back to him was like, I don't think Jason Jordan's going to be stepping down from like possibly having a match against Triple H, which just feels like this is where it's going to lead to then being in a tag team with Chad Gable. That feels that's Roman Reigns stepping down to feud with The Miz.
But with
And the
the
Miz
Shield,
Rush.
with the Shield reunion, you can kind of see it because people want to see a Shield reunion eventually, and it will happen. But who of the mainstream audience
Who's begging to see American Alpha back together?
clamoring for the American Alpha reunion?
So let's talk about the big. Okay, so should we think that Triple H is the blackmailer, or Stephanie and Triple H are the blackmailers?
I could see the blackmailer never being brought up again,
Yeah, it's the Raw GM. It'll just
Yeah.
be dropped.
which was really one of the more First of all, you've got what is the mystery, the scandal that Kurt's trying to hide, and the other, not as important but pretty significant part of the whole storyline is who is blackmailing Kurt Angle. Is it Corey Graves? This could, why are all these mysteries happening at the same time? Who is the mastermind behind it all? But I got the sense when Jason Jordan came out, the way this whole thing was executed, which, I mean, I know they've got longer till SummerSlam, but I thought this had so much potential for Kurt to come out, say a lie, then maybe Corey Graves confronts him, maybe you get a McMahon return, they confront, and you get like, and I usually I hate long in-ring promos, but if there was ever a time to do it, to go 15 minutes with people going back and forth and teasing out the eventual reveal and having some actual drama, this was the time to do it. But Kurt Angle just came out, did a little bit of exposition about how he fooled around in college,
As we all did.
and there's a great comment that's going round on the YouTube comment sections, which is, he did it with a broken goddamn condom. Of course, the broken goddamn neck call.
Very good.
And I've forgotten where I was going with this. Oh yeah, and it was after 6 minutes. This whole thing was wrapped up in 6 minutes.
Yeah, it felt like a real wet fart of an ending as
Yeah.
well.
So usually, you'd expect a good story to have ups and downs, or a segment to have ups and downs, conflict resolution. This was just, here's my announcement, here it is.
Yeah.
Just
And
all...
I will say, they both sold it very well. Like, Kurt Angle was in tears, Jason Jordan was in tears. I thought I was waiting for the moment when he was just going to grab him and angle slam him.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
But I don't know, I feel that this might at some point... So the storyline, as I would imagine this going, is that Kurt Angle is now going to start favouring Jason Jordan and giving him opportunities that maybe he's not so deserving of, and putting him into title contendership stuff because he's pushing his boy, he's pushing his son. It's the same, like, it's the old territory things of just like if your dad is the booker, you're likely to be the top star.
Eric Watts.
Yeah. So they could do that, and that will then lead to Stephanie and Triple H coming back saying, like, you're giving this guy preferential treatment, and that will then lead to Jason Jordan against Triple H.
there's that way.
Mm-hmm.
There is also Jason Jordan keeps on using his father's favour to get ahead on Raw, and then when Kurt is no longer useful to him, Jordan reveals it was all a ruse, turns heel, does the maybe inherits the Angle Slam.
I did see.
And
yeah.
Triple H and Stephanie are revealed to be the actual mastermind behind this whole Jordan ruse.
Yeah, that's very good.
Is it?
Well, no, no. I did see a very funny tweet though, where and we'll come on to the Revival in a moment. But Dash of the Revival said like, we're undefeated against the New Day, we're undefeated against the Hardys. What have we got to do to get a title shot? Hey, Jason Jordan, can you ask your dad?
Yeah, that's good.
And Jason Jordan replied saying like, I will, but we're trying to catch up on lost time. And posted a picture of like a roller coaster rides, but had photoshopped him and Kurt Angle like holding hands.
Someone meme. Go crazy with memes on that, please. So yeah, it's like it's not terrible. It's not a terrible thing, but it was definitely
disappointing.
Disappointing.
I feel like a parent. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah,
Remember that was that Raw former WWE writer last week who said that I can't wait for everyone to crap all over this because it's a dog poop angle. And I disagree. I don't think it was dog poop. I just feel like I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
It's like for all the negatives of it and just why it's not a satisfying resolution to the mystery. Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan, like you said, sold it really, really well. You can't fault them for that. And it's nice to see it when people just give it their all in over dramatic performances. But there's also, this is a new face. They're trying to elevate a new guy.
Yeah,
so
that's always a good thing.
That's always a good thing.
So I think this has also elevated, also brought out a lot of ugly side of people as well. It's like, how can White Kurt Angle have a black son? That doesn't make any sense. Which I just think in 2017 is a maddening opinion to still have.
He's mixed race, isn't he? So it's kind of...
I mean, it's possible. Either way, the bigger discussion I feel to have around this is the death of tag team wrestling in WWE.
Yeah.
Because on Raw, you have 4 tag teams. You've got the Hardys, Gal Anderson, Shamaro, and Rhino and Heath Slater. And it's not like Rhino and Heath Slater are challenging for the belts anytime soon.
No.
Then on SmackDown, you have 3 tag teams. You have the New Day, the Usos, and Breezango. And that's it.
I mean, SmackDown had a really good tag division for a moment.
They had a great tag team division for a moment. But now
I really like the Colognes as well, but
they're
what's
injured.
going on with them?
Yeah, they're injured. And now American Alpha split up. Enzo and Cass split up. There's no... R-Truth and Goldust are split up. So there's no tag teams left.
DIY on NXT, if you want to go down there.
So it just feels that the tag team division is going to go very stale very quickly on both brands, despite the fact that you've got the Hardys and Gal Anderson and Shamar. You've got great tag teams. It's just that they've only got a handful of people they can feud against.
Another bit.
I forgot the Revival. There's 5.
Revival are really good.
Yeah.
We'll come on to that in a bit. How great they are. So another criticism of this, to do with kind of everything wrong with the Kurt Angle reveal, is as great as elevating a new face is, Jason Jordan, Chad Gable's the better wrestler. Chad Gable's the more engaging promo. Chad Gable just seems to have it better together as an act.
But I would say that Chad Gable doesn't have to be weighed down now with his character being the son of Kurt Angle. I feel that this is going to be a real hindrance to Jason Jordan as a character because he's now got to carry on for the rest of his career being referred to as Kurt Angle's son.
Has it ever worked out for anyone to be revealed as, I guess, EC3 over in a GFW, whatever
but that's never really brought up anymore. I think he's made reference to it since Carter's gone, a couple of times. But the only one I would think of was Kane and Undertaker.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah,
that worked out kind of okay.
Yeah, and they bring it up every now and again.
Yeah, Hardy Boys.
Yeah, but
they're not really brothers. It's a work.
I like Edge and Christian, where they were brothers, and then years later it was just like they were like brothers.
So there's still, who is the blackmailer? That's still a question that's got to be asked, but I think it will be dropped. Overall, I thought the build was excellent,
and
weirdly the big angle that usually WWE are quite good at. Well, actually, that's not strictly true. That was kind of disappointing. What do you think the follow-through is going to be? Do you think it's going to work out? Do you think this has actually got legs?
Well, I hope so, because they've invested quite a bit of time into it, and it gives Kurt Angle something to do as opposed to just sort of stand in the back in those weird rooms where general managers operate from, and people stand in lines.
Always has nice posters of the most like recently upcoming
Balor's
DVDs.
Fallen. Balor's injury.
We got it down.
Balor's injury really is taking its hold on him, isn't it?
So I'm kind of pessimistically hopeful.
Yeah.
Track record suggests this isn't going to go well. I just look at it and I think Drew Galloway and the Vince McMahon.
The chosen one. Yeah.
That's what I'm getting. I just so I didn't watch him much on NXT before American Alpha, but from what I heard, he was never really over it. It was going with Chad Gable that made him.
I was going to say, because even when he was a tag team with Ty Dillinger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they then split up, and it felt like that Ty Dillinger was going to become the Marty Jannetty of the group because he wasn't on TV while he was developing the 10 gimmick. And Jason Jordan was put straight into this storyline with him trying to find a replacement tag team partner, and Chad Gable coming up to him being like, "Dude, it's me, pick me."
Ready, willing, Gable.
Yeah. And Jason Jordan was like, "You're a dork, I'm not tagging with you." And then was having rubbish tag team partners until they finally teamed together, and they were awesome. And then they branded themselves as American Alpha, and you're like, "Oh, poor Ty." And then Ty came out and has become probably a bigger star, sort of. He was for a little bit anyway. But yeah, I mean, they were just so good as a tag team. I felt there was more legs with American Alpha as a tag team. I think that's what disappointed me the most. Like their match with the Revival at Dallas last year. Yeah, Dallas at Takeover. Yeah. The WrestleMania Takeover from last year is just so good. And you and I were there for the Takeover London show. When they were at a Four Corners tag team match.
They were
so over. And like that.
And they were really new then.
Yeah. But everyone was just
Gable.
So good. It was amazing. Yeah. And I'm just disappointed that they never really got a run. And although Chad Gable did remind us all that they were SmackDown Tag Team Champions at one point.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, not only that, they beat Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt for those belts.
So, one last question.
Yes.
Appearance aside, so they don't have to look anything resembling like Kurt Angle, who would you have preferred to have seen as the illegitimate child? Who do you think could have actually benefited from it?
I don't think I would have done an illegitimate child angle. No. That's not... I wouldn't have gone in that direction.
But if you had to.
If I had to.
Just trying to run through all the people on the roster.
Who are...
You'd want it to be a new guy.
Problem is, American Alpha is the obvious direction to go because they've got the Olympic things, the singlets and everything. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that question.
Oh, look, give us some ideas in the comments below.
But I wouldn't have done a Sun angle. I would have done to be honest, maybe a Dixie Carter reveal probably would have been better.
Would have done my storyline. Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, Love Triangle.
No, I mean I don't know Mike's. Mine won.
The Revival beat Hardy Boys next up in just another really good match. Yeah. I really enjoyed this one.
God, the Revival are so good.
Oh my God, they do the classic thing of just because tag team matches in WWE are formulaic. I can watch it and go, yeah, they're going to do this now. Here comes a hot tag. But with Revival, they make me forget about where the spots are coming. And I'm like, oh, we nearly had that. Oh, they're cutting off the ring. Oh, God, he's getting beaten down hard here.
One of my favourite spots that the Revival do, and they do it more, like they do it quite a bit, but I love it, is when the one of them gets thrown out of the ring while the babyface team are trying to make a hot tag, and rather than like standing there going like get back in the ring, they jump down, throw their partner back into the corner, and be like, right now tag me.
Yeah.
And just completely just work together as a unit. They're so good at it.
It's nice when you see people and you're like, oh, that was smart. That's a smart. You're not stupid wrestling poorly written characters. You're smart people who can think of stuff that we wouldn't think of because you're professional athletes. Jeff lost this one, so that marks a few losses for him now. But Michael Cole was playing up that he got the shoulder up.
Yeah.
Although nobody could see it in the replay. Probably did, but...
Yeah, that almost feels a bit like the Sasha Banks, Alicia Fox feud that happened for...
But that was obviously a mistake. I think Jeff meant...
Was he meant to get a shoulder?
I think, because I don't think it looked like he did. I think they screwed up the positioning of how to make that look more obvious. Michael, he was so quickly on it. And being like, oh, he got his blah, 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 Michael. So
But
the Hardys are losing a lot after winning everything for ages.
Yeah, but the Revival are great, and that's always good to see.
The main event was Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe in a number one contenders match for Brock Lesnar's Universal title, which is going to happen at SummerSlam. Really good heavyweight match. Roman Reigns is a good wrestler.
He's very good.
Very good wrestler.
The internet doesn't want to hear that being said, but Roman Reigns is very, very good.
Sorry, it's the booking of him that is bad.
Yes, but he's
his
great.
Talent and his commitment is obviously flawless, and I'm sure he's a great human being as well. But it's the booking that's bad.
Yeah.
So don't hate Roman.
I also think his gear
too
lets
much.
him down as well. His gear looks really naff.
Oh, I quite like his
No,
gear.
I don't like his
I thought
gear.
you like people who look like action figures.
Yeah, but he looks like a rubbish one.
I like-
Also,
I
as
like
well,
his
because
stuff.
he's wearing like a chest protector, he just looks like a bit of a wimp. Like he's just like, I'm wearing a vest that's
Yeah.
got a big padding on it, so don't hit me too hard. I've got to do this every night.
I can't think of him as any other style. I quite like it. But him and Samoa Joe really had a good match. But Strowman came out. He got a big reaction from the crowd. Of course, he hasn't been seen since Great Balls of Fire, where Roman tried to kill him.
Granted, that was only last week.
Yeah. So yeah, but he walked off, didn't he? You saw Great Balls of Fire. I've
Certainly
only
did,
seen
yeah.
snippets of it.
Yeah, the double turn that wasn't really a double turn.
Yeah, it's a shame. So there was no definitive winner for this match, which plays into what the Dirty Sheets have reported, which is the main event of SummerSlam is going to be a four-way. It's going to be Strowman, Joe, Reigns, and Brock all going at it for the Universal title.
Which will be a very fun match.
That'll be a great match. Yeah. Think of
big,
all the power spots.
Big mean guy match. That'd be great.
Yeah, because they're all like not super heavyweights, but that level above everyone else on the roster where they all look like legitimate large people.
Yeah. Also, Samoa Joe took a fantastic boot to the face.
Holy moly, didn't he?
Didn't he just? Because they shot it like from the hard camera side initially, and I was like, man, Joe sold that very well. His timing is impeccable. Until they showed the replay, I was like, oh no, Roman kicked him right in the face.
Real, yes. Not content with trying to kill Strowman, he was trying to knock Joe out.
That was great.
But yeah. We've actually timed the studio time in for this episode's taping today, so we don't just give SmackDown 5 minutes. We're actually going to give it all the time it deserves, which unfortunately
Is not a lot.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
Should we try and do more sentences?
Well, trying to finish each
Between
other's
each
finish each other's sandwiches.
Yes.
That's
Is that a
It's a joke
is that
from
Jump
Frozen.
Street?
No, Frozen.
Oh, is it Frozen?
Yeah. No, the one from Jump Street you're thinking of is when you got the twins across the way in
Yes.
22 Jump Street, and it's just like, let's just say the same words
Words.
together. Words. I don't know.
What a movie.
It's so good.
What two great movies those are. So, SmackDown kicked off with a promo package for the Punjabi prison structure. Not for the match itself, but just like, look at this
For
thing.
the superstructure.
And then it was revealed in the actual arena there was a Punjabi prison, and it was lowered down. What the inner part was, and then Jinder came in with the Singh brothers, and they explained
Yep. The rules.
the rules. And after one of the Singh brothers going through the many rules, you get one chance to open each door will open for 60 seconds, it shuts, and then it's locked forever, then at which point you have to climb out the top one, and then you have to climb out the second one with the razor sharp spikes, Jurassic Park, Stephen King, everything, Godzilla,
Maggle.
King Kong.
Yeah.
Then Jinder said, straight into the camera, there are no rules.
You can see that he'd paused because he said it, and then he goes, the only rule of the Punjabi prison, and this was like, oh, actually, we've just gone through quite a lot of
There were
rules.
so many rules.
Because he then paused and then went, no rules.
Like that. That's a...
No rules! As he often cuts his promos.
Yeah, he's very quiet. He's not got much fire.
He's got
in him.
such a raspy voice.
And then Randy Orton came down. He climbed up the outside one and cut a promo like, I'm going to take the title back, yada yada. It was all boring. So, when Jinder first became champion...
Sorry, there was a moment when Randy first started to climb the structure on the outside. As soon as he climbed, there was a guy in the crowd who was obviously quite close to a microphone, and he just went, it's on now.
Oh! So, when Jinder first became champion, I was down on it because it was just too quick. He
Job of
went
champion.
from being something to nothing to something way too quickly. I would have preferred, if you're going to push Jinder, to plan that out in advance, have him have a nice Intercontinental title run. And then there was a very negative reaction to anyone who had a negative reaction in the YouTube community. Adam Blompier's reaction video to the decision, which he was down on for the exact same reasons as I was, got like thousands and thousands of dislikes. And I think it is because there is a large Indian viewership for wrestling content on YouTube. And I think, well, reading comments, I know.
Also, YouTube's just a contrarian place.
Well, but you would think Jinder Mahal's being pushed out of nowhere. We hate that. That would be the usual response. But
YouTube's a contrarian place.
But that's almost yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of the reception was from the Indian audience. It seemed was that there is something behind this guy, and I was like, okay, maybe they're going to do this booking of him as a face for India and a heel for everywhere else.
We talked about
on
a ramble, yeah.
And I was giving it a chance, and I've been reaching and trying to like it. And for me personally, it's not working.
Okay, so can I give you my take on, and this is actually a take on SmackDown as a whole.
Yeah.
There's none of the matches going into Battlegrounds. There's SmackDown has not given you any reason to care about any of the feuds that are currently going on SmackDown at the moment. You look at what's going on Raw, and you're like, oh, the Miz and Dean Ambrose, they've got this great history, and then they've got these really good heel foils. This annoying dork who's the Intercontinental Champion, and then he's got these rubbish lads as his backup, and they're having this little feud here. So that's a great little mid-card feud there. Finn Balor is having these great matches, and now he's going to go on to face Bray Wyatt, and they can probably have some good promos, and maybe not from the Bray side of things. But you've got this awesome main event scene, where you've got these multiple people trying to become the number one contendership to face Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. They've got storylines, and there's all of these storylines and all these little threads, and then you watch SmackDown, and it's just like, it's a bunch of lads having a bunch of matches with no consequences. Like the tag team match, there was no consequence to the tag team match that was the main event, much like there wasn't a consequence to the main event tag team match last week or the week before. The women are just treading water. The whole SmackDown's been treading water on the women's side of things probably since WrestleMania.
I think the whole show's been treading since WrestleMania.
Certainly since the Superstar Shake-Up, they've been treading water.
Which is the week after WrestleMania.
Yeah, and it's just that I've been given no reason to care about Knack versus Baron. I've been given no reason to care about AJ versus Kevin Owens, because it feels like they don't really have a reason to not like each other either or want to be facing each other. They just are. And it's like this Randy Jinder feud has been the same since it started, which is, I want to be champion, and then the other guy going like, yeah, I want my championship back. Okay, would it have been so much to have like Randy Orton, to film some vignettes of Randy Orton going to India and RKOing his family?
That'd be great.
It's not like the WWE is hard for cash.
Yeah.
Like, just that would have been great, rather than just these 4 weeks where they've just come out and just cut promos on each other, saying the same thing week in, week out. It's been a tiresome build to a very lackluster card. Well, not lackluster card, but, boring show.
So everything after WrestleMania for Raw, we heavily criticised it for being the same matchups week after week, the same people facing the same people. So what's happened on SmackDown?
It really is.
It's just the same. Rap battle aside, the New Day Usos stuff is just repeat.
Last week it was Jimmy versus Xavier. So this week it's Jimmy versus Kofi, because that's how you book a tag team feud.
And Kevin Owens, Baron Corbin, AJ Styles, Nakamura is just a permanent combination.
Card came up for the main event, and I was like, I know it'll be good, but I've got no need to see it.
So let's carry on with what happened on SmackDown after the Punjabi Prisons opening segment. Jimmy Uso, like we said, beat Kofi Kingston. Meh. Yeah. It really should have been, if you look at the progression of this feud and what's the hot go home angle, it's the rap battle. Yeah. But that was 2 weeks ago now. So, and it's not like they did anything to capitalise that the week after. So 2 weeks ago, I was really looking forward to this Battleground match. Don't care now, because you need to progress these things. It's not good enough to have just one good segment out of 4 weeks of build.
This is the go home show as well. Yeah. Man alive.
Next, we had a interview with Renee Young, because she's got to do something now, with Chad
Poor
Gable.
Renee.
Yeah.
Poor Renee.
Talking
She's so
smack's
much
gone.
better than just being my guest at this time.
Yeah.
X.
She's so good. And it was Chad Gable saying that he's also getting a new start now that Jason Jordan's gone off to Raw. So he's going to be going it alone. It seems like they did know this was where this was going a few weeks ago, because they've been giving Chad those losing showings, but very good showings against Styles and Owens. And I really hope they just continue with that slow progression of him coming up short against main eventers, but proving himself, but beating everyone else beneath that in really competitive matches. I think have a US title program in around Survivor Series time. I think that'd be a really nice pacing for his build up.
Problem is, I mean, I'd love that as well, but like the US title picture appears to be very much going to be centered around AJ and Knack for the foreseeable,
or AJ and Cena. They've for SummerSlam maybe. That's what people have said.
Oh, okay.
And if Cena wins it, then you could have open challenge Gable. I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens. But I hope they treat him like they don't rush him.
Point I was going to make was I would much rather be seeing AJ, Nakamura, Kevin Owens, Baron Corbin, and Randy and Jinder in the sort of WWE Championship picture, and then having the US picture for trying to get guys over like Ty Dillinger, like your Luke Harpers, like your Eric Rowans, like your Chad Gables, and then have that as your brilliant mid card that some of them are trying to then ascend into, rather than just having these two lads here that have been the main event picture now for months on end. And it's just these two lads, and then everyone else is just sort of. Then everyone else is the mid card.
Yeah, the idea would be you have those two guys fighting for the title, and the other 4 people in the main event picture are fighting each other for either personal feuds or the right to get the next shot.
Yes.
But the right to get the next shot doesn't matter anymore, because WWE just extend these feuds. Here's a match. Here's a match. Here's a match. Very
frustrating.
It's crazy how much we flipped on Raw and SmackDown.
Oh, it's incredible. Did the writers get drafted? Were they part of the Superstar shake-up?
Don't know. Next we had Mike Kanellis beating Sami Zayn.
I just popped as soon as the music hit.
It's a great song.
So great.
But it is a gimmick probably doomed to fail, because he's big in ring debut. Mike Kanellis, former Ring of Honor and TNA star. He was dominated by Sami for the entire match.
Yeah, it was almost a squash match of sorts.
Until Maria got in, said, no, don't hit the haluva kick, and out of some distraction... Oh, it was a pretty wicked-looking closed fist strike, which, last time I checked, is illegal. Referee. And then hit his sort of sit-down powerbomb finisher.
Samoan driver.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was. It was over the top. So... It just did nothing for anyone, because Sami looks weak because he lost to 2 moves, and Mike looks weak because he lost the rest of the match.
His tights are nice though. They've got pictures. They've got a picture of Maria on them, and it says "in a heart," which I laughed at. M&M forever, which I thought was very cool.
Great. Also great, John Cena's promo. What did you think of this?
I mean, I've heard him cut this promo before. I've heard him do the America's Ace Mate promo.
This was real. This was another level, though.
It could be okay. John Cena's a really good promo.
I mean another level of how much John Cena loves America. Yeah.
I mean, it was, but at the same time, I'm like, a lot of it just kind of washed over me, because I'm like, I've heard John Cena talk about how much America is awesome, and I love a John Cena promo as much as the next guy. He's a great promo, but this again was just this was the same promo he cut 2 weeks ago to start the feud, and it's been followed up with just nothing. The feud's in the same place it was 2 weeks ago as it is now. That's not how feuds work.
Yeah, it was really bizarre. It was like, I make a joke about it in the SmackDown review, the 4 minutes one, where it's just USA, Pearl Harbor, Cold War. You just saying buzzwords, and then he picked up a flag. God, I mean, I know wrestling isn't known for its subtlety, but I really found this quite...
This match should have been on the 4th of July show. I don't know why this has been saved for Battleground. It should have been on the 4th of July show, which actually would have made the 4th of July show worth watching.
Well, we're not getting into that again. That was a great show. Becky Lynch beat Charlotte clean.
I was
beat her.
I was
made
surprised.
her tap.
I was genuinely surprised by this.
I was surprised too. And, at first I was like, yeah, Becky, come on. I love you, Becky. You're a really underutilized wrestler.
Isn't she
I hope
just?
this means more. And I was like, well, wait a second. What the hell's happened to Charlotte? 3 months ago, well, before Fastlane, she was on another level in terms of stardom. Like, if they kept going at that level, Charlotte would become a very big, on that Roman Reigns level, just for the women's side of things. But now, like, what is she? She's just in a mix of people.
Well, that's because, like, SmackDown women's matches, they okay, so this match is going to be like, it's a multi-person elimination match. At WrestleMania, they had a multi-person single four match. At the last pay-per-view, they did a multi-person ladder match. I remember SmackDown at one point had 3 different storylines going on for their female wrestlers, and I watched them and were like, well, this is brilliant because this is how the women's division should be utilised. Not being a division, just being part of the show. You have multiple male storylines, you have multiple female storylines, you have multiple tag team storylines, if possible, there aren't enough tag teams. But now it's just that, well, we've got this one women's storyline, and everyone's involved in it. And it's just the same thing every week. It's just Shane McMahon stands there, everyone stands in a line, they say some pretty awful dialogue, and then a match is made.
Really, really lazy booking.
So lazy.
Or actually, this week's dialogue wasn't too bad.
Oh, I thought it was pretty hokey.
But Becky Lynch is so good.
She's great, but like as soon as Shane finished talking, and then it's like, it's now my turn to speak because the script says that I talk now. And then Natalia stepped forward and was like, and now it is my turn to speak, and I will say this.
And then you're just watching it going, oh, God, it's going to be Tamina's turn soon. It's Tamina's turn.
And as soon as she stepped in, I was like, oh, she's blown it.
Just before she opens her mouth. Oh, God damn it, Tamina!
Blown a line again.
Yeah.
Best one of that was when... I think it was before Money in the Bank. Charlotte was like, if you don't stop talking, I'm going to make you look like Ellsworth. Then Tamina stepped forward and was like, if you don't stop talking, I'm going to make you look like Ellsworth.
That made me so happy. Yeah, the crowd, because the crowd were popping. And
popped huge when Charlotte said it. And then Tamina said it. Deathly's like, because everyone went, oh.
And like, there's a way to, so you could go, no, I'm going to make you look like Ellsworth, which is still terrible, but at least the inflection's different.
See, do you think that's what it was meant to be?
No.
Because I thought she was meant to have a different line, then forgot what that line was, so just repeated the last thing she heard.
I think you're right, but you could have at least tried to save it. Like, oh, what is my line? I'll just say Charlotte, but I'll make it about you now. But she didn't. She just said, I'll make you look like Ellsworth. What? That was great. That's an example of things being so bad. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. As is the Fashion Files X-Files parody.
Yeah.
So it's The Truth Is Not H.
I feel like I'm guessing that once this is done now, are they stopping the Fashion Files?
I really hope
because
not.
It feels like they're burning through these now. It seemed like originally it was a series of things. So they would do like 3 weeks of one gimmick. They'd do 3 weeks of another. But now it just feels like they're just burning through these now. So like the Miami Vice one was really short-lived. Walker Texas Ranger, which I thought was hilarious and should have gone on for longer, was 1 week. And then it would jump straight to the Fashion X-Files. Just burning through these, mates.
Well, hopefully they do. I mean, it's not like there's not many detective shows on TV. But those are your big iconic.
That's what I mean. Like you start off with Law and Order, and then you do like the Gumshoe detective stuff, like that, and then you did like Holmes and Watson. I think they've done as well. I don't know. It's just burning through them a little bit. This was hilarious though.
It was. They are so good, so that they thought the place was haunted or there was a alien ghost involved.
Because the truth is H.
Yeah, and there's a whoa, like a ghost noise. They pull back the curtain. It's Aiden English. Great delivery. Do you mind? So that was good. But then I thought that alien delivery guy bit,
that joke fell flat on its ass.
It wasn't good.
No.
But Fandango was so excellent in it.
When Tyler Breeze was just like, I'm silent because he's like, I deliver guy, and Tyler's like, okay, cool. But Fandango was just like, so human-like. Sorry.
Leave that alone. That's my lunchbox. Yeah, but he kept on touching the delivery guy's face.
Yeah.
What is it like in your world? She's got such a great voice for it as well. And then afterwards, he opens the box.
They did a Seven parody in this X-Files parody.
Yeah, a Seven and Godfather parody because Tully the horse was kidnapped last week.
Yep.
Which was a cuddly toy, and it was the horse's head. And Fandango's selling of this.
Still technically a Seven parody, really, isn't it?
But the horse's head is the Godfather.
Well, no, but
in the box is Seven, yeah.
Well, that's what I thought, but I thought because at the end of 7, it's a head. Spoilers for 7.
Yeah.
So I thought it was still just a continuation of the 7.
Oh yeah, but
parody.
it's both. You can have 2 parodies going on at the same time.
Yeah, but I think
It's a parody within a
you're putting too much in the horse head. If you were doing a horse's head parody, you'd do it in a bed, surely.
But you can't do that with the delivery guy thing. I think they just threw all the
I
jokes
think,
at the
I
wall
think
and
this was
let them
just
all stick.
I think this was just a 7 parody. I did laugh on the wall though. There was a picture of R-Truth and it said R-Truth is out there.
That's nice.
That's very good.
I just want a screenshot of that board every time because they're always excellent. But yeah, when Fandango opened the box for the Godfather reference, he just the way he sold it was no, Tully, no, and he kept on going. And in there was to be continued at Battleground.
To be concluded.
Oh, sorry, to be concluded. Yeah,
we're going to finally have the reveal of who is destroying the Alpha. So clearly it's not American Alpha anymore.
Yeah, so who is it?
I am going to put my guess. I mean, we could probably save this for the Battleground predictions.
Save it for that.
Shall I save it for that? Okay.
Yeah, because that will be on a Saturday for everyone, or Friday for Patreon subscribers.
Yeah.
And finally, in the main event, we've already kind of talked about it. Kevin Owens and Baron Corbin, the heels, beat AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, the baby faces.
Good match, but...
Yeah, it was a good match.
Of course it was. Look at the 4 men in the ring. It's bound to be a good match.
Just not much to work with.
Nope.
And this is... So Owens is feuding with Styles and Corbin's feuding with Nakamura. They've both got pay-per-view matches. This Sunday, this is the Go Home show. This was just a match. Like, why couldn't you do an angle, a beat-down thing? But it was just Owens pinned AJ off a blind tag and then walked up the ramp, and you ended the show with Corbin and Owens pointing, and AJ laid out in the ring, and Nakamura doing his weird pointy thing back. So why not give it something? Why not do an angle?
Well, that would be too much for SmackDown. I feel like SmackDown hasn't had an angle in months. It feels like.
Well, the Fashion Files.
Yeah, but that was more of a backstage skit more than an angle.
So, unsurprisingly, I'm just going to say it now, I much preferred Raw.
Yeah, same here. Yeah,
I thought Raw was not only a good show, I thought SmackDown was a lackluster show, especially considering it's got the pay-per-view this weekend. Yeah,
and it's amazing that the one thing that I'm intrigued about with Battleground is the reveal of who trashed the Fashion Police's office.
Yeah.
It's really about it.
Yeah, I don't care. Well, I'm actually perversely curious about the Punjabi prison match because
especially after
it's going to be weird.
Especially after watching both the other two
both two
earlier
classic encounters. On Monday. But that's all we've got time for today. We will be back on Saturday with the predictions for Battleground. So make sure to click notifications or subscribe or anything on your YouTube device. I think you have a YouTube device to make sure you get notified about that first. And of course, click the videos that have just appeared over Luke's face to catch up with the latest episodes of the Wrestle Talk News or Wrestle Ramble. Support Wrestle Talk on Patreon. I've already told you to subscribe. This is Luke Owen. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was Wrestling Rambling.